from the podcast, Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk. It's Grant's Rants Small Talk. Real Housewives of New York City Rundown.
Let the ranting begin. Right here, you'll find a RHONY rundown, 30 minutes or less. Cheers to flexibility as the women celebrated this episode. I have no idea. It's season 12, episode 18, hitting all the wrong C notes, which I still can't track what that title is in relation to. But joining me to run down this episode is Hector Sagatumes. Welcome back to Grant's Rants.
Hey, Grant. How's it going?
Good to hear from you. I haven't seen you in a long time. We live in the same city, but I haven't seen anyone in a long time, it seems.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Just trying to be safe. That's the main goal. But yeah, the second this is done, you can expect massive parties happening.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about tourism. Like, oh, please. Like, when are people going to be able to go and try? I think you're going to see tourism blow up. Maybe not in a year, maybe 2 years, but like, I mean, you can't keep people in like this anymore. I can't handle it.
Yes, totally. I agree.
Doing the best that we can. But we do this through this whole quarantine. We've basically had New York Housewives, which I'm grateful for. I'm thankful for the show. It's slowed down for me, though. It's slowed down. How many times are we going to see this woman get drunk and argue? It's a little repetitive. What do you think?
I think that there's a certain limit to the drunkenness and to the arguments. I think that some of it is warranted. But definitely this is a vacation episode. So if you think back to all of the, when they were in Cartagena and when they were in Mexico before with Bethany, that was all these girls did was just get trashed. So this is kind of right up their alley as far as their trip is concerned. Right.
Like they're not a sightseeing crowd. They just rather sit at a restaurant and have the biggest drink on the menu. I don't see anybody that as much as like Dorinda will try to make it look like she's someone that wants to go about town and look at local culture. I don't believe that any of them are interested in any local culture or practice.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I mean, is it entertaining? Yeah. I mean, we've gotten some great moments over the years from them. I mean, Luann falling into the bush is just one of the most hilarious things that's happened ever on the show. So, I mean, I didn't see anything really groundbreaking this trip, but I mean, this episode was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it was all right. It was a little slow for me, but there was a good through line here with Dorinda. I will say, like, I feel like we might be finally getting to some big sit down conversation, which I thought was going to happen in this episode, but it really didn't. But I don't know. Let's start from the beginning. Sonia's in this high stakes FaceTime call with this man named Isaac, who looks like a real New York character, if I do say so myself, about the Century 21 party. So Sonia and Leah, they bond over their fashion brands, which I thought was kind of like a nice moment. It was relatable for once. It wasn't just about the show. We actually got to hear something that was going on in their life.
Yeah, totally. And I think that over the years, we've seen Sonia talk about so many things. So it's good to see everything coming to a head. And it's good to have somebody like Leah who's got a brand already set up, that they're able to connect on that level.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Sonia's stuff. I think that it's really great that she's popping up like that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see at the party next week, but it looked legit, which I was happy for her. We'll see how it plays out. But like these two, they really did like select or pick this table in the corner to work. And then all the other women came over, which I can relate because sometimes I need to like get away and focus on something. And like, I just need like 10 minutes. Let me just get this done so that I can enjoy the rest of the day. But no, everyone's going to be involved in your business. And then they start serving breakfast. So I was just as frustrated as they were because here we go. Bitchy Dorinda shows up. It's like we never know who we're going to get. She shows up and she's, very upset that, that she has to send these invitations, Sonia, that she has to get these invitations out. And then she starts talking about her friends Kelly and Ryan. Is she watching the talk show live? What is she talking about?
I have no idea what she was talking about. I felt very, very scattered with it. But I mean, let me get back to the whole working thing. These women are on vacation, but they're also not, sitting at home doing nothing for most of the time. They're working on themselves. And so if they took a few minutes in the morning to do that, I don't understand why everybody was jumping on them. It didn't make sense to me at all.
Ramona and Sonia, they get together and they talk about Dorinda ranting and raving and trying to find a way to bring it up, which I feel like that's definitely like a producer like pushing them to be like, you got to be the one to do it. Who's going to do it? How are you going to do it? And they are going to lead with menopause. So like,
no, the Salem witches were just menopause. I died when I heard that. That was hilarious.
Oh my God.
I think Sonia said that the Salem witch trials were a result of menopause. Oh my. I think that's,
go ahead.
That's kind of a touchy subject to bring up to somebody. Like, how do you come up to somebody and say, hey, maybe your hormones are out of whack? It's not something that you want to be comfortable talking about. I like the way that they kind of were trying to introduce it nicely, but still, it's kind of one of those things where you really shouldn't be talking about that.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of this moment where Lou and Leah met these two guys, these Canadians on the beach? And I mean, it seemed natural to me. It didn't seem fake, but I have to think, like, if I was walking on a quiet beach like that with a friend and we were approached and there was a camera crew, like, I don't know if I would be that natural. It's odd. I mean, you're trained to look at the camera and they didn't. I don't know if this was real or fake. What do you think of this moment?
Do you think that they were kind of maybe they were talked to beforehand? But I mean, if you've ever been to those beaches in Cancun like that, they have a lot of private beaches that you can walk in. So yeah, it's probably something that they just met up with. They didn't look super comfortable on camera to me, though. They were very like stumbling and like trying to talk to the women like very uncomfortably. I mean, you can tell the one that wasn't making out. What was his name?
Pascal.
Pascal. Pascal. He was very, very uncomfortable with it. And he was very uncomfortable when they were at dinner and talking. So it didn't seem super, super natural. So I do think it was kind of real. Maybe that setup was set up, but they definitely were not comfortable on camera.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought they warmed up quite a bit. I mean, especially one with Leah. I mean, Philippe. Yeah. I mean, like, I think they were overall. I mean, it seemed to me, and I wrote this down too, like when they did arrive at the dinner, like, I think these two guys are on vacation and they're just like, let's go for the ride, man. Like, let's just, if there's going to be cameras here, there's a table full of women. They probably sure they thought the women were a lot younger than they actually were. And they would just like go for it.
Yeah, they thought Ramona was, 44, 45? Like, come on, man.
That is literally all Ramona cares about. That is like, she wishes that is, I wrote it down. I had to bring it up because that really is her whole point when she said, oh, I'm just 60 something. It's always about the age with her. Every week we have to hear about, if it's not her age, it's Leah's age.
Correct. Well, I think with her, with the age thing, she was bringing it up because Leah bagged the hot guy. And Ramona was definitely gunning for that guy.
Oh, yeah.
So when she saw them making out, it was definitely like she was, okay, well, now I'm talking to this guy and I got to let him know that probably the reason he picked her was because she's younger than me.
Oh, yeah, probably. What do you think? Dorinda's really sick. She's feeling the same way she did in Cartagena. And then Ramona says, this is before they go out, she says that she thinks it will be kind of interesting with Dorinda not being around. That's like, I wouldn't like someone to say that about me, especially if I was under the weather. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you feel like it's interesting when I'm not there.
I get both parts of it, She has been a little on edge, and this season Dorinda has been like consistently on the attack, and it's not a great color for her, but I do understand the idea that maybe we need a little break from her, and I think it was Luann who said diarrhea happens for good reason or something. The girls needed to loosen up without Dorinda kind of yelling at everybody.
Right. I mean, we only see a part of this trip, but I mean, they do have to share every moment and every meal together. I get what it's like where you need to have a break. I almost think that's kind of a wise thing. Take one person out of the equation each time just to kind of like recalibrate the trip. You know, I mean, it's not really a good practice, but in this case, it worked for them. Yeah, I mean, Dorinda, I don't know if we're just seeing the worst of her or if it's a mix. I don't know if they're giving her an unflattering edit or if they're trying to help her out a little bit. I don't know, but it's rough. I every episode that I watch, like, want to like her again, and then I'm reminded, like, again, when she approached that table with them working, and you know she was really polarizing. I was like, oh, come on, man! Like, can you take a week off? Do we have to always have the edge?
And I don't know what's motivating it. I don't know if it's the fact that, her and John broke up, or if it's just, she's just kind of, delving into alcohol as a coping mechanism for everything that's going on. But it's getting rougher and rougher, and it's not as fun, I think. Mm-hmm. When Dorinda's funny, when she's on, she gets it. Like when she was, who was she telling? Sonia clip, like that was hilarious. And I don't think she's delving into that. I think she thinks that when she was angry, people were finding it endearing, and now it's not. It's really cringy to look at.
Do you think she's trying to fill that Bethany void of someone who's just, going to be really tough and not take any BS?
Well, I think she's kind of already been that way. If you look in past seasons, she's always kind of no BS type of person. I think without Bethany there, she's definitely shining a lot more in that position. But she's always kind of been that way.
Yeah, I'm wondering if she feels as though she has to really be the one every week to bring the truth. Like the way Bethany always had, the real moments. Which, I don't need Dorinda to be anyone other than who she, the best part of herself. I don't need her to play the role of that. Maybe I'm reaching. But the next day they all go to the Cenote cave. What is this? I've never been to Mexico. Are you familiar?
Yeah, it's great. What did Luann call them? She called them Dolomites. She called the stalactites and the stalagmites. She called them Dolomites. But basically they're old caves that get carved out into the wild, and you kind of you can either drop in or you can walk over to them like Sonia and Ramona did. But you can go swimming in the water. It's crystal clear, and it has all kinds of wildlife in there as well as beautiful walls and stuff. I thought that was a nice thing to do while they were out there, because it's supposed to be healing, really.
Oh, really?
And so, yeah, it's supposed to be a healing thing. So it made sense that they would try to do something like that. I didn't think they necessarily came out healed, but they definitely went in with the idea that they were going to be healed.
What did you think of the shaman, Julian? What did you think of him and the process with the smoke and the birds? And I actually would really like to try that. I would do all of this stuff. Why not?
Totally. Yeah, exactly. It's a different experience. They're in a different culture, so experience everything you can. I'm glad that they did something like that rather than just sitting in the villa drinking all day.
Yeah, no, and I'd like to see something too. I think everybody wants to see something, some type of experience. And, I'm glad that they gave her the time and it just wasn't all about sitting down and talking and eating. I'm glad we got to actually see something. But on the way there, I'm a little all over, but when it comes to this at the beginning, Sonia had my favorite quote of the episode where she said, "Drunk in the day, drunk in the night, that's us bitches." I mean, there's your tagline. There's your tagline.
Exactly. That's everything. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. This whole episode for me was really, really honing in on Ramona's judginess of Leah, and you really got to see it this time. And it was really bugging me for some reason. I don't know what kind of axe she has to grind with her, but she was just so judgmental for her, for things that other women have done that she would not have done, not even worried about or cared about.
Yeah, I agree.
And so you see the ending of the show and you're seeing them yell at each other and you see Ramona just so upset. It's another form of her judgment on that. Now, I agree with her. I don't think that Dorinda should have taken the call. I think that if you're with some people and you have to take a call, go to the side and do it, not talk in front of everybody. But I don't understand why Ramona was attacking her right away like that. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, let's talk about that call, and then we'll back up and get a few more details in a minute. But while we're here, let's talk about that. I mean, everyone feels like it's super hypocritical of Dorinda because she was upset with them earlier doing the business and the work they had to do at the table. I hate when people, and I have someone in my life who does this to me a lot. They get very spiteful, is what I call it. The way she was like, I forgot the word Ramona used, but she was just really like bitchy. I mean, she was just like putting on a character and like, oh yeah, it's okay, right? Yeah, I want to congratulate my daughter. Is that okay with you? And it was just I don't like when people get like that. That to me is so passive aggressive.
Totally, and it just seemed unwarranted at the moment. Like I get it, it's kind of a rude thing, but it's called tact. Like Ramona tries to prove her that she's very tactful, she's very classy, and I don't think that that's evident with her behavior.
No, and I'll give Lou some credit because she did try to be patient here. She tried to like point out, that she's blowing up at this person and that person and this person. And I mean, I don't know, like you're just like you're like, and it's like a volcano that's going to erupt. Like there's no right way to say it. But I give Lou some credit for trying to explain it peacefully before it got completely off the rails. But Ramona did not help. That whole, I call it the emotional meltdown. I mean, like, again, now she's got all the theatrics, the hair pulling, the red face. She's going to put her head down on the table. I mean, what does that all prove? Is anyone buying this?
I don't buy it. I don't know. I think it's part of her act of her self-righteousness, and it's just I don't like it when housewives do that. I didn't like it when Vicky Gunvalson did it, and I don't like it when Ramona Singer does it. I don't want to see that kind of self-righteous attitude.
That's what it is. That's the best word for it. I agree. I don't know I don't know what she expects to get out of this. I mean, if you did that on camera and you went back and looked at the season, I mean, wouldn't you say like, oh my God, like how phony do I look? Like I'm not doing that ever again. Like, you know what I mean? Like you'd learn from these things, but again, she never learns. She's all these hundreds of hours of footage of herself in all different scenarios that she can reference to look back on, but she'll never change that one. I think she looks ridiculous. That's something that you don't need to do. This whole, like, remember her, I believe it was in Morocco with her, after she argued with Alex on the bed, like that look with her arms up. Oh. Like,
yes.
all you have to do is do that once and be like, oh my God, I look like an idiot.
And minus these little episodes, Ramona's actually very, I like her portrayal on the show. I just, this version of her is just not something that I want to see necessarily, because it causes unnecessary drama and it looks so forced.
Yeah, I was just looking at a tweet from Housewives Fanatic on Twitter, and it was like, Ramona's a monster, but I love her on the show, and like we need her on the show. You know what I mean? Like it's true. Like I mean, I need her on the show, and I know other people do not, and that people are waiting for her. And the exit, there was some article out there from Us Weekly that she quit the show, but it had no other press pickup. So I doubt that that's true. People run with this Housewives news more than ever. It's like wildfire. So we would have heard something. But look, here's the thing with Ramona. I would not be surprised if she went ahead and quit the show before they fired her, because she saw all the other OGs get the pink slip. So someone like her, I don't think she would allow Bravo to fire her. I think she'd try to get ahead of it.
Yeah, totally. I think it's a pride thing. She would never be forced to leave. It's more like, oh, I'm choosing to leave, myself. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I actually had talked to one of the producers for Watch What Happens Live, and she told me that Ramona was probably the worst person in that goes to watch what happens live in behind the scenes. And so, but she said she's super prideful. Like if you ever told her that, she's like, no, I didn't do that. And I think that carries over into her performance on this show. She blows up like crazy. And later on, she's going to say, no, I was just talking to everybody calmly, when her face is red and her hair's disheveled for no reason. It's just part of her charm. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think she's going to go quietly if she does go. We don't know yet, though.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have a hard case to remove her from the show. I mean, so much story revolves around her. She's really in that friends group. If that really is about a circle of women, if the show really is about that, I mean, they're going to have a hard time getting rid of her and still keeping the other three. So Dorinda, Lou, and Sonia. So, I mean, I don't know. They're going to have a hard time removing her, but did you catch this? Luann is showing Dorinda a picture of some American Idol contestant. Now, I know by now the internet has already probably solved this, but we're recording this right after the show aired on the East Coast. So I have not dug in yet, but apparently Luann, Ramona, and Tinsley all were with this mystery man.
Yes.
I don't know anything about American Idol. It's one of my least all-time favorite TV shows. I can't stand it. It's not my type of show. The last time I watched, Diana DeGarmo was on, which was like 2003, maybe. So I think it was 2003. So literally I have no touchstone for this. I have no clue.
I don't know either. I looked it up really quick to try to see if I can find something and investigate, but I haven't been able to see anything. But yeah, it was very interesting to find out that he got through 3 different housewives in New York.
This will be solved. I mean, they narrowed it down. I mean, just look at the list. Look at the list of winners and match up ages and who's straight and who's single and. Yeah, I mean, just filter it out.
Oh, you know what's funny? My sister just texted me right now. It's Constantine Maruli. I don't know who that is.
Constantine Maroulis. I remember that name. He was on The Bold and the Beautiful, too. Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I wasn't sure who that was at all. But yeah, that seems to be the same person that they're talking about.
Another moment I want to point out was in the caves. Sonia mentioned that Ramona typically would swim with a noodle. And the guy said, well, how old are you, 5? And of course, in Ramona fashion, that's all you have to tell her. Do I look 5? I'm so young, I'm 5.
You know what? Being in quarantine, and this week I've been on vacation, I've been watching old reunions. And it's very interesting to see Ramona's evolution through the years from somebody who was very, very proud of her age and how she doesn't get work done and not really focusing on it, to now where she's so concerned about looking young and being considered young. I don't know what's pushing that.
I don't know if that's an evolution or a de-evolution. Like, I think that's the only thing that's changed about her. Her behavior hasn't. I think just maybe her outlook. I mean, which is normal when you get older, but I mean, if you keep drawing attention to it, every episode, this time 2 times in an episode, like, okay, we know you're in your 60s, you probably shouldn't be advertising that because Bravo wants all these young moms on these shows. So like, hide your age because
totally.
Yeah. They're like, they're still upset they couldn't make Kristen Takeman work. I mean, they're like still trying to go for those chicks. So, relax over there. Let's close with Leah. She apparently had a sage crystal egg up her vagina.
Yes.
Really though, whatever works. I know how hard it is to be single out there. I mean, if that helps you, go.
Well, I think it was to cleanse her from her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if you've ever had an ex, but I mean, you'll do whatever you need to get rid of that aura, that energy.
Yeah, apparently his energy was still in her. I don't know. But
that's amazing.
Leah feels differently about this whole Dorinda thing. She's not mad at her. She's not ready to have this big intervention. And she just won't turn on her friend. And, I think I don't necessarily agree with Leah here. I love her, but I don't necessarily agree with her. But I don't think she agrees with how it's being done. And, I mean, with Sonia and Ramona at the helm, it's not going to be done well. It's just not.
Totally.
It's not going to be handled appropriately. Maybe this should be a Lou thing.
I don't necessarily disagree with Leah on this. I mean, she's writing for her friend. And again, at the situation, I don't really think it was necessary for them to jump down Dorinda's neck. So Leah kind of saying, you guys calm down. This isn't something that we need to do right now. I think that seems perfectly in line with her character and the fact that she's very much wanting to control things and not have everything spiral out of it. And I also think, too, it was just another way to stick Ramona, because Ramona's been at her all this time. So if you can make Ramona look crazy while you're trying to pacify things, it puts her stock up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Final thoughts.
Let's head into our final thoughts. Our final thoughts of this episode. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I loved it. I think it's good to kind of have a calm episode where things aren't as crazy and punchy. It's very different from the trips in the past. I think the reason that it's a little different is because we have only 5 women. Normally we have like 7 women or 6 women at least that kind of talk and have different interactions. But so far it's been a fun trip, and I'm excited to see next week.
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed the trip. It's been a little slower. The drinking hasn't slowed, but I love the show when they're in New York and they're doing their own thing. And I've had one vacation too many, and this vacation now is going on its 3rd episode next week, or maybe even 4th. I think it's only the 3rd. But, I'm ready to see what's next. Dare I say I'm even ready to get an update on the cabaret. Lou spoke about a script she has to write. Now she's scripting the show. That is forever growing, that project. And I don't know what she's scripting. As someone who's seen the show twice, she reads from a fake diary and then chills in the green room for like 45 minutes. So I don't know what the script is going to look like. Maybe she can just scribble something down on the plane on the way back. But I'm ready to go back to the city. And I'm just not ready for things to get super ugly with Dorinda. My final thought is I'm glad that this episode did not end in like screaming and fighting with Dorinda. They had their moment. It got nowhere. It went nowhere. But I'm glad that it didn't get really ugly. I'm tired of the ugly fights, because it's just things are too serious right now. I like that this show has a good bounce back. So hopefully something constructive, probably won't. Hopefully something constructive can happen.
Yeah.
All right, Hector. If that's it, I don't have any other thoughts on this episode, but my thanks to you for coming on and running down the episode with me.
All right. Thank you so much, Grant.
Thank you.
To be here.
Oh, great. So happy to have you. And thank you guys for listening. I'm glad you're enjoying the rundown. Please rate the show if you're listening. I've gotten a few ratings and some notes. I've been making some changes, as you all know. So let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed it. Be well, be safe, and we'll be back with more rants.
This has been Grant's Rant Small Talk. Real Housewives of New York City Rundown. Want more? Join the full conversation on Grant's Rant Hollywood Talk podcast.